for Bill Walton, and Sean Miller very adamant about not looking past Colorado and looking ahead to Utah, almost Belichickian in his approach to the game tonight.
Focused, live in the moment, and that's what we're doing here, east of the Continental Divide in the People's Republic of Boulder. The scene in here is absolutely awesome. The anthem, a Hendrix guitar rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, the video, America. Yeah, we love our country. We love this game. Let's play ball. We've got a game. Come on.
The 3 losses for Arizona this year have been on the road. T.J. McConnell, a Player of the Year candidate in the conference, joined by Ashley, Hollis Jefferson, Stanley Johnson, and Caleb Tarczewski, who's starting to round into form. Meanwhile, for Colorado, it's been a rough year for Tad Boyle's team. They're under 500, but healthy. Josh Scott's missed a bunch of games with a back injury. Askia Booker is very capable of having a big night. He had 30 in the first meeting with Arizona, a Wildcat win in Tucson.
I'm concerned for Tad. He's got a tie on tonight. Sean going the other direction. Huge matchups across the entire starting lineups here. And this one here, Askia and T.J. McConnell, absolutely determinate.
I'm sorry your luggage didn't make it from Los Angeles and that you had to wear the same outfit that you wore last night. That is the same sport coat, right?
No, it's not.
But the jeans and the golf shirt look awfully familiar as Xavier Johnson misses a 3 and out of bounds to Arizona.
Somebody should explain to the ESPN programmers that Los Angeles with an 8 o'clock start and Boulder with a, what time zone are we in right now?
It's 7:06 local time.
Oh my goodness. We got a game. It's like being on the Dead Tour. Let's play.
Here's Brandon Ashley. He's been up and down this year. Ashley in the lane, nice move, and he's very capable. He's an 11-point-per-game guy, but he can score 20 on a given night.
And that certainly was up and down. And that was beautiful execution of the theory of how you play basketball. Go one way, come back the other, get in the air, unstoppable. We learned that from Kareem last night. You're old enough to remember that, right? You are Dave, right? It's a little groggy here. But what an incredible atmosphere here at the Coors Center.
Here's Wesley Gordon, the kick out to Johnson, and the shot clock at 3. And we got a reach-in foul on Stanley Johnson.
We talk matchups, and I love the matchups of Stanley Johnson versus Big X Johnson. High school teammates, they're state champions playing for Gary McKnight, Mater Dei, Orange County, 2 incredible physical specimens. More importantly, though, the emotional level of commitment and sacrifice and discipline that they bring to their teams is unsurpassed.
What will it take for Colorado to pull the upset tonight?
One guy who's going to step up to the front and say, hey, look, I'm going to show you how this is going to be. Whether it's going to be Josh Scott playing with the bad back, Big X Johnson, who traditionally hurts Arizona mightily. That's just a terrible possession for the Buffaloes. Where are the Buffaloes roaming, please?
And a steal by McConnell, who's 3rd in the conference in that category. Johnson misses the 3. Stanley Johnson shooting under 30% from 3 in conference games.
He's first-team all-conference. You can take that stat and put that away, because that guy's a first-team all-conference player on a list of only 5 players.
Askia Booker, number 8 all-time leading scorer. Colorado history. Hollis Jefferson at the elbow, gets the bounce. He's a great defender, coming off a game where he only scored 2 points, though, against UCLA on Saturday night.
Please, they won the game.
Booker lost it, the last touch by Arizona.
Arizona shot 34% in that game and won. That game was so painful to watch, maybe even more so to listen to. But Askia Booker from Los Angeles, his last 2 home games of his career, the senior. Arizona State over the weekend, going to be the senior night for the Buffaloes.
And Josh Scott with the basket, ties it at 4. Scott had a great year last year, but he's been banged up. He's missed 8 games this year. And in conference action, only averaging 8 points per game. Tarczewski had good position and drew the foul on Wesley Gordon, the first on the Buffaloes.
The Buffaloes defensively look like they're stuck in the snow. And even though it's beautiful for the fans and everything, and the skiers, the people carrying their snowboards around Boulder here, you got to be able to move and anticipate where that ball is going. And right now, all the anticipation is going Arizona Wildcats' way. And they don't even know how to get the ball in bounds. Please, come on, Buffaloes.
McConnell with the bucket in conference action. He's averaging 12 points per game. And he's had some big road games, TJ McConnell. 25 at ASU, 21 at Oregon.
Throw it down, Big X.
Oh, and Wesley Johnson didn't like Hollis Jefferson reaching in. He thought that
good.
That was flagrant, but
that's not
just a common foul first on Hollis Jefferson.
Just grabbed him to keep him from throwing one down.
They want to see this kind of fire, though, from Xavier Johnson, because a lot of times Xavier Johnson, if he's not scoring, he's not engaged. And they need something that'll fire him up. Maybe that'll be it right there. Second foul in Arizona.
Big X is as cool a dude as there is, but he's got to be able to come and bring it in the big games. And it's been so frustrating and disappointing for Tad Boyle, for Buffaloes everywhere, and for people who love basketball. Because there's so much talent there. But the ability to overcome the injury that he suffered at Utah, we were there. The ability to play with Josh Scott, who's missed major portions of the season. They've only been back together now for 3 games. They're 1-2 in those 3 games.
Booker with a wild shot, and he was last touched by Trayshawn Fletcher.
Hey, how about happy birthday, Johnny Cash? Let's walk the line tonight. Come on. I want to see you cross that line. One time tonight. You got a black suit on?
I do.
You had a fire going in your hotel room today? You have a fire in your heart. How about your stomach?
No comment. I know that you love to wish people happy birthday oftentimes of people that have been dead for 400 years, but how about a living, breathing college basketball player? Caleb Tarczewski, 22 years of age tonight.
Happy birthday, Caleb. Smartest guy academically on this team for Arizona. This team that has a real chance to make it all the way to the championship. Whether they will live up to that potential and the opportunity, that will only be proven on the court. Wild shot.
Airball 3 by Booker, but after Stanley Johnson got the bucket on the other end. I'll say this, I think if Caleb Tarczewski is at his best, and he's starting to rebound better, 9 boards in each of his last 2 games. If Tarczewski and Brandon Ashley play to their potential, I think Arizona's got enough to win the national championship.
I agree, but more importantly is TJ McConnell. Because while TJ McConnell is the player of the year at this point in the Pac-12, the Conference of Champions, no truck stops here. I tell you, Boulder, as beautiful as it gets, even in the snow. Throw one down, Stanley.
And another hard foul, this one by Ashley. And Xavier Johnson playing with a fire. You asked whether I got a fire in my gut. You can tell that Big X does tonight. That's the first on Ashley.
Which is much more important.
Da war mal jemand so richtig sauer. In der Partie der Dallas Mavericks gegen die Toronto Raptors fallte Trainer Rick Carlisle Point.
You as a player, is it harder for a big man dealing with altitude, do you think?
No. I've had plenty of high altitude training in my life. So
I knew that. I walked right into that one.
So it was something that I enjoyed and looked forward to.
All right, let's move on. Forget it.
The hardest thing was the dryness of the air, because you're used to that layer of sweat and the film on your hands and on your face and on your shoulders and every part of your body just covered with water. But it's so dry here at times that you don't have that, and you're constantly trying to moisturize. That's why you have to hydrate on a constant basis.
Xavier Johnson misses both free throws.
Not a good way to start.
And Gabe York for 3. York had 13 points against UCLA, hit 3 threes. That's his 41st triple on the year. And it's 11-4 Arizona. And a nice move by Dustin Thomas, a sophomore, is only averaging 4 points per game. Banks it in, and he'll go to the line.
Sitting here in the Coors Event Center to be able to see the sign, "Where Legends Roam." Finally, somebody with a strategic plan as to how you're going to beat somebody in the low post. When you're bigger than somebody, play back to the basket. When you're smaller than somebody, play facing the basket.
Another missed free throw for 3 now for Colorado.
And when you're smaller than somebody, come out on the court. Come to the high post. Beautiful passing.
And Hollis Jefferson throws it down.
Look at T.J. McConnell.
McConnell, who just got his 300th career steal a couple of possessions ago. Got a tie-up and will stay with Arizona, according to the possession arrow.
You mentioned earlier.
You can't be sloppy with the ball against Arizona.
Arizona, well, they come at you. They're fierce. They're focused. The concentration that Sean Miller does. Sean Miller, coach of the year in the Conference of Champions. No truck stops here. And then you have that sense of the concentration and the focus, the living in the moment, that he doesn't want this team looking forward to that gigantic game on Saturday. While the fans are looking forward to it, while the broadcasters are, and the television sponsors and advertisers are, yeah, but this is the one that makes it so critical for their chances.
Parker Jackson Cartwright in the game now at point, and he drives and scores. It's a freshman from Los Angeles. He had 11 points against USC, playing his third game after missing 4 due to a concussion.
We're 5.5 minutes into this game, and Colorado has yet to make one defensive play.
Arizona 7 of 10 from the floor. As Parker Jackson Cartwright looked like he got a piece of the ball there. Dustin Thomas went up, thought he was going to have an easy layup.
PJC, tremendous strip down low. The ability of these little guys, that's what you have to do. Go for the ball down low and then count on your big guys coming after the double clutch. But that time he was able to poke it away himself. And there's some blood on the court here. Referees will.
Yeah, Hollis Jefferson will have to get tended to. Meanwhile, 6 different players with a basket already for Arizona's McConnell. Number 3 in the conference in steals. Gets the pick.
You know who else's birthday it is? Levi Strauss. Thank you, Levi, for giving us something to wear.
I think that's what you have on right now. Better than the onesie you had on a couple weeks ago up in Seattle.
Well, wait till I get my Prana yoga pants on.
Last touch there by Colorado as they look at the lip of Hollis Jefferson.
Don't play defense with your face. I am a perfect example of what happens.
Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy at 2. The good one with Northern Iowa and Wichita State in the Missouri Valley. Then at 5, Texas and number 8, Kansas, part of Bracket Builder Week presented by Dish. And speaking of building the brackets, we're going to have Joe Lunardi join us here shortly.
Not again. He was there last night. What's has changed since last night? Except for Oregon's huge win. Huge win at Cal. I mean, that was a nip and tuck affair, and then Oregon blew them out down the stretch. Joe Young, maybe a first-team all Pac-12 Conference of Champions performer, but Snoop Dogg. I tell you, Snoop Dogg, he was huge in that game. 18 points, opened it up for the Ducks.
That's Dwayne Benjamin, by the way. As Dustin Thomas is fouled, will go back to the line. Colorado yet to make a free throw. Well, what's changed is Oregon is no longer in the last 4 in. They are solid in. UCLA moves back into the last 4 in. They were in the first 4 out last night. We'll also talk with Joe about Arizona, whether the Wildcats can get to a 1 seed.
Stanford's not playing well. UCLA, if they continue to play Washington every game, they'll win the rest of their games. Feel bad for Lorenzo. The way I feel bad for Tad Boyle. I mean, these are 2 teams. Tad Boyle, if they had all their guys, Lorenzo, if they had all their guys, both of those teams would be top 12 teams in the entire United States.
Well, remember Washington, when they had everybody, they beat Oklahoma in December. Oklahoma's a top 15 team. Robert Upshaw dismissed from the team. Gennard Giroux was injured for a while. Sean Kemp didn't play last night because of a concussion. Kemp is supposed to be back for their next game against USC on Saturday. And Colorado's had injuries, which we talked about. Here's York getting to the basket, and he's fouled. That's just the 2nd team foul on the Buffaloes.
So how can you predict Sean Kemp's return? Where's your medical degree from?
Just going based on what Washington Sports Information gave me last night.
It was Ashley's birthday yesterday. We didn't get a chance because we were interrupted.
By Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for 15
That was
minutes.
not an interruption. That was a celebration and a tribute. The greatest college basketball player ever and one of a handful of the greatest professional players ever. A very small handful. And I learned so much.
I'm just glad your presence didn't hurt book sales as he was signing for his new book, his 9th book that he's written. As Gabe York's at the line, Dominic Collier committed the foul. York shoots near 80% from the line, and he has 5 points. It's a 10-point Arizona lead.
Gabe York has improved his field goal percentage on this season from last season by more than 20 percentage points. That's improvement.
By the way, here's a lesson that you could learn from Kareem.
Yes. Quiet
strength. That's kind of how I define Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with the emphasis on quiet for you. You're learning. Look at, you've already picked up on that. That three-pointer from the corner. Dominic Collier, the coaches think he's very talented and has a chance to make it.
I'm trying to give you a chance to talk before the play happens, and then you continue to talk after it happens. Please. This is not radio. Down the lane, Gabe York. Too easy.
Foul on the floor. 13 foul on Colorado. This one will go on Collier, so that's 2 on him.
Always critical to define your culture, identity, and style. Penetration and dish. Universally championship style basketball. Dominic Collier, former Mr. Colorado basketball in high school. This guy's the future of this program here. Just a tremendous talent, dynamic, vibrant, exuberant personality. And the coach takes him right out.
Well, he's got 2 fouls, so that's why he's out.
They got to try to win the game. They're down 7 points here at home.
Here's York, can't leave him open. And York buries his second 3. Now, you mentioned it, Colorado not defending.
As soon as they make one defensive play, be sure and mark that date down in history.
York has 8 points, 2 for 2 from behind the arc, and is back to a 10-point lead. McConnell doing an excellent job on Askia Booker so far.
But there's nobody that Colorado can really give the ball to and say, okay, I'm going to establish how this game is going to play out. Can Torrey Miller be that guy?
Strong move on Ristich, but unable to get it to go was Miller, a freshman from Kansas City. Stanley Johnson.
Beautiful.
Ashley has it rejected by Gordon. He's one of the best shot blockers in the Pac-12.
But the defensive transition for the Wildcats.
Booker inside the arc, gets the bounce.
John Miller will live with that. Tremendous recovery. It looked as if the Buffaloes had just a stampede to the feeding grounds, but they were forced to take a wild shot in transition.
Second basket for Booker, and then Brandon Ashley showing his range, his 12th three-pointer on the season.
Remember we were here last year, and in what was supposed to be a huge game, and the Wildcats from Arizona came up here and just turned the Buffaloes back. It was like they locked the gate, and they said, you guys can't come out and eat today.
And that was one of the biggest games in Colorado history going in. But Arizona on a Saturday night throttled the Buffaloes, and they've won 5 in a row against Colorado. Gordon trying to keep it alive, and an Arizona foul. That's the 16th foul on the Wildcat. TJ McConnell picks up the personal, and Joe Lunardi will join us when we come back.
More than Joe Lunardi, the Colorado Buffaloes, they need Scotty Wedman. They need Scotty Wedman to come back here from 41 years ago and throw some jumpers, nullify their tough, embarrassing losses. They didn't play a tough enough schedule. They didn't play a tough enough schedule. But that game was at home, and that's why Arizona needs to start scheduling the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the Kansases in the regular season and get out there and show, because right now they are so far ahead of everybody else in the Conference of Champions that it's really impossible for them to make that national statement. Beautiful pass.
Hey, Joe, don't you think, though, because they did play in Maui, and the fact that Michigan didn't end up being as good as people thought going into the year, that hurts Arizona?
Yes, but Joe, but if they're 7th or 8th right now, as they are right now, that would put them in Kentucky's bracket. So how do they weight geographic versus actual talent and skill and productivity? Who makes that decision?
All right, Joe. Hey, thanks for the time.
Wait a second, Joe.
No.
How many people are on this committee? How many people are on this committee? And are you on this committee? And who are these people on the committee?
Thank you. Great answer, Joe.
That's
well
the
done.
way we want it, Joe. You're the best. What's your winning percentage, Joe?
100%. Perfect.
Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for shining the light. Joe Lunardi, where all your answers come and your dreams do become realized. Thank you, Joe.
And Joe will be on all week. It's Bracket Builder Week as Hollis Jefferson gets the rejection. Arizona leading by 13 points. A disappointing start here for Colorado, knowing that now they're a team that if they get into the Pac-12 tournament hot, that they can win 4 games because they have the talent to do it. But they're not defending tonight. Pitts misses, and there's Hollis Jefferson getting an offensive rebound. Arizona, the best offensive rebounding team in the conference. There's Josh Scott with the block and a save.
More importantly, Arizona is the best rebounding team by percentage in the entire country.
Booker can't get it. And up high for the rebound is Hollis Jefferson.
And one of the things in Arizona's favor, because I don't really get into this geographic seeding.
Well, it doesn't matter what you think. You heard Joe. The committee talks about it. And
yeah, but at one point they're going to modernize everything. But the thing in Arizona's favor on that point is that nobody west of Lexington, Kentucky travels the way the Arizona Wildcats do. And these people are interested in filling the arenas. And wherever we go, Arizona is the biggest game of the season. And hopefully now that, because whenever Arizona loses, the fans storm the court. Right. Hopefully that's not going to happen tonight. Hopefully they've already made the adjustments quickly to not allow that kind of behavior any longer, ever, anywhere.
Well, Sean Miller came out and said that if you storm the court, you should get fined $100,000. The SEC is the one conference that will fine schools up to $50,000. As Josh Scott connects, they need more of that. Colorado does tonight.
Well, that's lunch money. Let's make it real money. You're talking how many billions of dollars this industry is.
Well, for somebody, Bill, who's all about having fun, how come you're so against the court storming by the students? As we
for safety. You don't need to storm the court to have fun. I have opted to have fun in this lifetime. Please. And I don't need to run out on the court to do that. I got a great seat here, although it is down in a precipitous hole.
Arizona, if it beats Utah Saturday night, 9 Eastern on ESPN, you pretty much can wrap up the Pac-12 regular season title, which would be the 3rd under Sean Miller. If Arizona and Utah finish tied, still Arizona would have the tiebreakers, even if Arizona loses to the Utes. The one thing that has not happened in Sean Miller's tenure, winning the Pac-12 tournament. In fact, the last time Arizona won the Pac-12 conference tournament was 2003. Been over a decade.
UCLA, the reigning champion.
Check that, 2002, excuse me.
That's all. Were you born then?
Back to the game. Josh Scott on the other side of the floor. They got it to him a couple times, but they have not been able to reverse the ball. Now it's in Booker's hands, and he puts it on the floor. And York with the block. Great defense by Gabe York.
What I want to hear from Shane Battier at halftime is how to be that champion player that Colorado needs, that Arizona is going to need, that any big-time program, offensive foul on Caleb away from the ball. But Shane Battier had that. Kareem had that. That ability. You're a complete team guy, but you have to set the stage of like, okay, I'm going to define the terms of the conflict. I'm going to show everybody how this game is going to be played. And that's what all of these teams are facing the challenge of. And for Arizona, that's got to be T.J. McConnell setting the tempo. Because last year when they went down in the regional final game against Wisconsin, they just did not play well enough. It can't just be about effort. It can't just be about strategy. It has to be about your brain. It has to be what Shane Battier has, that ability to lift it up and be the best player in the game. And we were fortunate to have the best player in every game last night, Kareem, sitting right next to us. And you're fortunate tonight you got Shane Battier in the studio to tell you how to be that guy.
Jackson Cartwright with a foul. So a 1-and-1 here for
oh my
Hopkins.
God.
And boy, Colorado 1 of 6 now at the foul line.
Wow.
Hopkins knocks it out of bounds. But I think in fairness to Arizona, look, Wisconsin hit some incredible shots late in overtime to make it to the Final Four. That was a terrific game. The Wildcats have been close, 2 Elite Eights, 2 30-win seasons under Sean Miller in his 6th year. And so much of it, getting to the Final Four, is about matchups and health. Arizona, given the fact that, look, they've got guys on the wing who can score. They have a floor leader in McConnell. They have some size.
Arizona has everything.
They can match up with a lot of teams.
There's no excuses.
There's Hopkins driving and kicking, and now a three-pointer by Xavier Johnson.
This is just wild basketball. I mean,
this has been the problem with the Buffaloes. They just have not been able to put the ball in the basket the last 3 weeks.
A lot of this will make Danny Ainge proud as can be.
Colorado's lost 5 of 6. The only win in the month of February for Colorado was here against Stanford. Tarzewski, you can see his confidence has been restored.
Caleb playing absolutely spectacular basketball on his birthday here. Last 3 games, he's shooting over 70% from the floor and getting 7.5 rebounds a game. But that jump hook that we saw, Akeem Olajuwon, Kevin McHale, Billy the Hill McGill. We saw one earlier from Brandon Ashley. They've got to keep coming back to that. But Arizona has depth, too. That's what other teams don't have.
Well, you've got Ristich right there. He had a big game against UCLA. Had 12 points in that game. Of course, York and Jackson Cartwright could give McConnell a breather at the point. They can move McConnell to the 2 and play those guys together.
You're talking too much position. Talk basketball. Put Ristich at the high post. Put Ristich at the high post and have him be a feeder. Have him be a guy who can dump it down into Ashley or Tarzewski, who can just grab it and just overpower somebody with a strong jump hook.
I don't know that they see him that way. In fact, I think
I've seen him that way.
Well, I think
I'm watching this game.
In some of their practices, when you get Tarzewski and Ristich on the floor together, you'll see Tarzewski in the high post and Ristich on the low block. I think they see Tarzewski as a better passer at the high post than Ristich. You disagree with that?
I disagree with that. But I just think that the big guys are underutilized.
York, another 3. Wow. Wide open was Gabe York in the corner. And York has not missed. He's 3 of 3 from behind the arc.
Wild play. Josh Scott's back must be killing him. The guy's been unable to do anything except hit a jumper in my face. But he doesn't look smooth and fluid in his running. You know who was not underutilized as a big guy? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Did you ever have the privilege of watching him play?
I did.
On television or live?
On television.
Okay.
As a young man.
In diapers? Anyway, so Kareem, the first 5 possessions of every half, he got the ball, going to work, on the move. The other team was always in foul trouble. The tempo was determined. Traveling violations, they're going the other way. Signs of life for the Buffaloes. Throw some straw out there.
Friday on ESPN, an NBA doubleheader starting at 8 with the Miami Heat taking on New Orleans. And Russell Westbrook, who is finding himself in the MVP conversation with the way he's played of late, taking on Damian Lillard and the Blazers at 10:30.
What about Steph Curry? What about LeBron James?
He's found his way into the conversation. He didn't say he was at the top of the list.
Everybody you talk about is in the MVP. Of course, you had James Harden as the MVP last week. Now, come on.
Curry, Harden, James, and Westbrook. Those are the 4 candidates.
What about Kawhi Leonard? He's the reigning one.
You know he's missed like half the year, right? 2-pointer by Askia Booker.
What does that have to do with it? They're still the champions.
Yeah, but you got to play to actually have a chance to be considered.
Which player has missed the most games and still won the MVP in the history of the NBA?
Bill Walton. Brandon Ashley called for traveling. And a chance now for Colorado to get it down to single figures with 4:24 to go in the first half.
Colorado trying to find the spark to light this place up. Come on. Spark it up here. Tad Boyle up off the bench.
Fifth year for Tad Boyle, 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances. First time that's ever happened at Colorado.
What's that?
You were listening. 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances. First time that's ever happened at Colorado.
Well, he's got the greatest run here. I was trying to listen, but I have these voices in my ear.
Real or imaginary? Forget it. Don't answer that.
Is there a difference?
Here's Booker. And then lost it off his foot. Shot clock is down to 7.
TJ McConnell's defense superb.
Fletcher got caught in the air, and the ball ricochets off Hollis Jefferson right to him, and he puts it in the basket.
Look at this awesome student section here on our right. The south side of the Coors Event Center. This is what we live for, the Conference of Champions.
Ashley short. Colorado ball, and then Fletcher throws it away. Arizona gets it back.
Poise, confidence, competitive greatness. Please. The top of the pyramid.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015
Head, and there's Chauncey. Now works for us at ESPN, does a great job in the NBA.
What an
Colorado guard.
What an awesome dude. And his younger brother's one of the top assistant coaches here on Tad Boyle's staff.
Rodney.
But his sense, his championship stature. You talk about big game players. That was Chauncey Billups. And Rodney right there, just doing it all here for Tad Boyle. Back to Deuce Ristich and his passing abilities. He's got 1 assist on the season. Throw it down, big man, one time.
Tarczewski, again, we talked about the confidence. That may not seem like much. It's his first rebound of the game, but the last couple games, he's played with much more fire on the offensive end.
Confidence comes from mental training, repetition in practice. Offensive foul push-off by Josh Scott ignored. But you have to develop confidence. And the coach's job is to breathe life into somebody. And Tad Boyle, as positive, as optimistic as there is. And this guy who's from this area, who grew up, his dad was an English professor at one of the local colleges here, the town that they lived in.
In northern Colorado, that's where his first head coaching job was, Tad.
That's somewhere near here, right east of here.
Greeley is where Tad grew up. Alley-oop, Tarczewski couldn't finish. Now Colorado, which had a chance to cut it to single digits and got it down to 9, but then turned it over in back-to-back possessions, gets a putback jam from Dustin Thomas. And it's a 9-point game again with 2:25 remaining in the half.
We've got a game. Throw it down one time, Dustin. But it's tough and painful as someone who's got back problems himself to watch Josh Scott try to play. And this is going to have to be something that he has to address. Stanley Johnson, who's been really kept under wraps by Big X Johnson. They're calling a traveling or 3 seconds dial a violation. Tremendous defense. We've seen 2 possessions now for the Buffaloes. Somebody has lost the corral.
And there's Thomas, who's played well off the bench tonight.
But here's 2 times now tonight where the Buffaloes have forgot that they have to bring the ball up the court.
It's all right. They got it done. They got it in.
Okay, but I mean, it starts with inbounding the ball, right? And then one guy gets it, you throw it in, and then you pass it up the court, you cross the timeline, which they don't really need anymore because they have a shot clock.
Here's Booker. Stanley Johnson, you mentioned, he's been quiet, 1 of 5. Booker is 3 of 11. First of all, he's taken 11 shots. That's a lot for a point guard. He's only made 3.
But that plays right into Arizona's defensive theory and strategy.
Hollis Jefferson, and the fans thought that should have been a no call or maybe an offensive foul. Instead, Dustin Thomas picks up his first personal.
We can just only hope that Rondae Hollis Jefferson's mouth is okay.
Now, Hollis Jefferson, one of the elite defensive players in the country. DeLon Wright held him to 10 points and 4 turnovers. Joe Young held him to 12 points. Nigel Williams-Goss held him to 7 points on 1 of 10 shooting.
But that is not only a tribute to the individual defensive brilliance of Hollis Jefferson, but it's also an expose of the weaknesses of other players who, because no matter how good a defensive player you are, if you're playing against a great offensive player, you have no chance. And that's why offense wins championships. But Hollis Jefferson at this level and further on down the line, this guy is going to be incredibly valuable to any team that's trying to win a championship.
Thomas will take the jumper off the front rim. Arizona ball, an 11-point lead, nearing a minute to go in the half.
Offensive creativity. You have to have it if you're going to win. Beautiful shot.
And the putback by Johnson, just his second basket.
Timeout here.
They're going to call a foul on T.J. McConnell as Askia Booker is shaken up.
They'd called a timeout before the foul.
Well, the official was pointing at...
He was pointing at the Colorado bench.
Well, they're going to sort it out here. Yep, it is a 30-second timeout. So no foul, 30-second timeout.
Get Joe Lenardi on the line.
At number 5, Mason Plumlee stripping Andrew Wiggins of the basketball. And Plumlee, you'll see him in the dunk contest on Saturday. It's an easy dunk right there. Hopefully we'll see a bit more from the Brooklyn Net. Come All-Star Saturday night on TNT. Number 4, Zach LaVine. See him right here, just kind of drifting towards the basket. Off the inbounds, Plumlee finds him, and Zach...
Win number 25 as a 13-point lead.
You know, we're walking the line here with Johnny Cash's birthday, and we got Levi Strauss in the jeans. It's also Victor Hugo's birthday. So just think of how lucky we are to be here in Boulder, Conference of Champions. Just think of Les Miserables, think of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and just think how fortunate and privileged we are to be part of something so special.
I believe it's Buffalo Bill's birthday. I'm not talking about you.
Where the Buffalo roam, baby.
Trayshawn Fletcher can't get the three. Scott the rebound. No on the putback, but he was fouled. But Josh Scott will go to the line for 2. All right, we're a little unclear on the birthdays. Let's go ahead and let's show you visually.
Visuals, I love that.
Buffalo
Yes.
Bill Cody.
On his way to Chicago. Grateful Dead. 4th of July, let's go, spark it up. Who else we have?
That's it.
Levi Strauss, Victor Hugo, Caleb Tarczewski, Johnny Cash, Fats Domino, and these are all the guys who I had my pregame prayer with.
And except most of them are dead.
No, this guy's right here. This is my team.
Thankfully, Caleb is representing that illustrious group. I think it's Michael Bolton's birthday as well. And I know you're a big Bolton guy. Will he be in Chicago?
I hope so.
13-second difference between the game and shot clock. Stanley Johnson lost the ball. So a turnover by Arizona. Colorado can hold for the final shot, maybe get it to 9 or 10 at halftime. Considering how poorly Colorado has played defensively and only shot 35%, they can get it to 10, get a little momentum going into the locker room, and they get the crowd involved in the second half.
When you can't score and can't defend, it's a bad combination trying to win.
That is terrific analysis. But it was concise. I'll take it. 5 seconds to go in the half. Here's Booker with 2. Booker leaning in. Great defense by Pitts. Getting the block. McConnell and Pitts. Terrific.
Now that's basketball. Team basketball. Championship basketball in the Conference of Champions. No truck stops here. Boulder, yes. The People's Republic. Let's go.
Dave York, a perfect half at 3 threes against UCLA. 3 3.
Presentation time here. Dave, I know this is, it is Dave, right? So college, libraries, science, laboratories, museums. You, a man of faith, you don't believe a thing I say. So I've got proof right here. I am presenting you with an official uniform of the Bill Walton Intergalactic Museum, Montgomery, Alabama. Because when I told you about this on the air the other day, you had no idea what I was talking about. You didn't believe me.
I still don't.
And so the staff, our CEO, president, and founder, Craig Sherman, he sent me this official uniform that you can wear, the Bill Walton Intergalactic Museum.
Now, you know this is an extra large, right? I think this is meant for a larger man.
No, that's a medium.
Perfect.
That I've been wearing. So congratulations.
You can show off the guns. Good.
Pump it up, big man.
The Intergalactic Bill Walton Museum. I thought we were going to talk about Gabe York. And
Gabe York was fantastic. He broke the game open, and Colorado was nowhere to recover. Great defensive recovery. Stanley Johnson, even though he hasn't had a big statistical game, he has made a huge positive contribution for his Wildcats' effort to try to win this game and secure the conference title.
TJ McConnell with the jumper, and it's a 14-point lead. Arizona led by as many as 15 in the first half.
So I ran into Sean Miller back in the hallway. I mean, the guy's got a great team, and they're killing the Buffaloes here, starving them to death. Traveling violation ignored. And Sean is so focused, so determined. It was like he was down 10 in the finals of the NCAA in Indianapolis.
Well, that's how he coaches. And with Utah looming on Saturday as Booker connects, he was just 3 of 12 in the first half. He didn't want his team looking past Colorado, and knowing that this crowd can get going and the Buffaloes can get hot, he wants to keep that same demeanor as Stanley Johnson banks it in. He was just 2 of 6 in the first half.
I cannot believe Stanley was trying to bank that in. I've never known a player who tried to bank from straight on outside the free throw line.
Nice move by Xavier Johnson, a 3-point opportunity. His first field goal. And first points. We talked about the intensity of Sean Miller. You see it right there.
The determination, but always coming back to that reassuring smile. Never discount. Get back on defense. Come on. Run the floor. Uphill, downhill. Somebody should tell these Wildcats, though, that Big X Johnson is left-handed and will promise to be so throughout the rest of this game. Yeah, the Buffalo's coming with a press here. You've seen the movie Where the Buffalo Roam, haven't you?
It's on the list.
It better be at the top. It doesn't get any better than that. Bill Murray, Hunter Thompson, Gonzo. We saw Gonzo at the poster scene today.
From the Muppets? Missed by Hollis Jefferson, the putback by Ashley.
But that was a pass by TJ McConnell to the weak side. The pass just happened to hit the rim, which is okay. Because passes and rebounds are the same exact thing.
Hollis Jefferson got poked in the eye. Meanwhile, a foul called on Brandon Ashley, his second, and Hollis Jefferson going to go to the bench.
He's got poked in the face already, bloodied his lip. Now he gets poked in the eye. And injuries which have ruined careers, injuries which have defined the history of basketball. David Halberstam, the breaks of the games. You just cannot have an injury if you're going to get all the way to that title game and the championship, hopefully. But what Sean Miller does all the time is he realizes, and he knows full well, I mean, he was a top player. He knows you cannot turn it off and turn it on. And you've got to bring it. And you can't just kind of coast along and all of a sudden say, okay, next game I'm going to have it. Excellent initiation of contact by Big X.
And a foul on Tarczewski. That's 2 on him. And so more free throws for Xavier Johnson, who was very aggressive early on and then just kind of disappeared. But Johnson, the guy that Colorado needs if they're going to make a run in the Pac-12 tournament. And we've seen it done in the Pac-12 tournament before, where a team wins 4 games in 4 days. Colorado did it.
What's the free throw percentage for Colorado shooting at home tonight?
They're 5 for 12, Bill. At one point, they were 0 for 4.
Yikes. The mental preparation, the visualization, the anticipation of how it's going to all play out. You just wonder how much time these guys have thought, oh, my God.
Another miss for Xavier Johnson. By the way,
another miss, another timeout. What are we doing here? TJ McConnell stumbling on the line as he's coming up.
I'm not going to have enough room in my house for all these gifts you keep giving me. The cake is on my desk that you gave me at the last Arizona.
The cake? Colorado. You haven't eaten the cake yet? I thought Dillis ate that.
The book is in another place. Here's McConnell. And the putback no by Tarczewski. And Booker out of there with it.
You missed the line. In another time's forgotten space.
Tarczewski bats it around as it was intended for Josh Scott, with a bad possession offensively by Colorado.
I love the way Arizona spaces on the break. They have organization. They have discipline. They have a plan, organization. And that game Saturday night at Utah is going to be beautiful. Great passing.
And the bucket by Tarczewski. Well, Utah's very good at home, but this is an Arizona team with the way Tarczewski's playing. Looks different.
So milk them. Wear them out. You know, the basketball is not an easy game on your body, on your mind, on your life, on your any part of your spirit and soul.
Josh Scott with the bucket. Scott had a nice first half despite not being 100%. He has 9 points now, also 5 rebounds, 3 blocks.
He's not near the same player that we saw before the injury. It was right there at the start of the conference that his back went out. And you don't turn around spine health overnight, believe me. I've been there.
Tarczewski again, he's got 10 points. What will it take for Arizona to win that game in Salt Lake City Saturday?
Make Utah play individual offense. That's not their game. Their game is passing. Their game is transition, the team game, Chris Reyes, Loveridge, Pirtle, Brandon Taylor, DeLon Wright, all these guys, Rakat Chapman. Make them, play the clamp down defense. Arizona is superior physically. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more mature. They got the big, broad shoulders. Just play clamp down, individual man-to-man defense and say, you're going to have to beat me playing one-on-one basketball.
Oh, off the face of Collier as he tried to save it, and he almost broke your clock. Thankfully, both are okay. Bill had a great day in Boulder. We'll talk about it next. Another edition of Walt's World.
There, the most important job in the world, the bike mechanic, to keep us rolling on forever, enjoying the ride.
I'm really glad that that's how you spent your day here in Colorado as opposed to doing something else.
I love Boulder. Thanks for making me believe in the future of the world.
Arizona by 15, 4.5 minutes into the second half. Gabe York, 3 of 3 from the floor. That's his first miss. Tarczewski, though, trying to get the rebound. And they're going to call it jump ball. It will stay with Arizona.
Caleb Tarczewski is a completely different player. I mean, he's moving for the ball. He's anticipating. He's playing like a little person who has a big body. And that's what separates the great ones. The guys who love basketball, who think it's their stage, their world, their game, their podium, their chance to make a difference in the world. And you come out and you use your body to gain a significant advantage. And Kareem had both of those things. Although Kareem, I think, was 6'10" and about 7 years old.
Tarczewski with the jam. Terrific pass. And it's the largest lead of the night for Arizona.
Throw it down, big man. And you asked about the Utah game?
Yeah.
Arizona will need to get a huge start in that game. Because in the biggest of games, it's a terrible offensive possession. One of the 6 worst in the history of Buffalo basketball. But you need to keep the crowd out of the game. And that requires a brilliant start. Make your first 6 shots. Play great defense. Fortunately, Hollis Jefferson's back in the game right now. But that crowd in Utah, the Huntsman Center, they're going to be on fire.
Another good pass. This one by Jackson Cartwright.
Bad Boyle needs a timeout. His guys are just allowing the Wildcats from Arizona, the cats who come up from the desert, to just waltz down the lane on an icy, slippery surface here. Please, this slope is just too precipitous.
Tarczewski with 14 points. He is 6 of 8 from the field. And ask Sean Miller today, has he turned a corner? He's got 9 rebounds each of the last 2 games, 12 points per game the last 3. Sean said yes, and Tarczewski is delivering again tonight. His career high is 18 points, and he might get that. He's going to get some time on the bench right now.
I beg your pardon. That wasn't Tarczewski doing that. That was Gabe York down the lane. That was the other time before it was PJC. This is team basketball. He's just a finisher. You got to be a creator. Tarczewski capable of being both.
Mark this down. It's one of the 6 times in 3 years we've worked together where you give credit to the guards. The other
I love
5
guards.
I don't remember, but
I love guards, especially when they do what they're supposed to do.
Pass you the ball as Booker gets the basket.
Feed the post, inbound the ball, play token defense on the perimeter and deny penetration. But the big guys can get rebounds and start fast breaks.
It was very difficult sitting next to you and Kareem last night.
It was fantastic.
Not only am I a foot shorter than both of you, but I was a guard myself. Not a very good one, as Ristich misses.
I never saw you play, I'm sorry.
That's probably a good thing. you've got enough fodder.
Where did you play?
Madison Memorial High School for like 2 years.
Was Bo Ryan your coach?
At Platteville, he was my basketball camp coach. Enough about me. Let's get back to the game. 17-point Arizona lead as the Wildcats look
to the game. It's a 17-point game. It's not radio.
In conference play.
Not radio. There's no truck stops here in Colorado.
Here's Hollis Jefferson. Beautiful shot. Rondé Hollis Jefferson now at 9 points.
Now that's what Arizona has, and that's what we're going to find out if Utah has that. That game is going to just be fantastic for everybody. Hopefully it's going to be a better game than the UCLA-Arizona game, which, oh my gosh, 57-47.
Well, that was a good win last night for UCLA.
UCLA looked great, and if they continue to play Washington, everything will be fine.
Well, they got Washington State next and then USC. So if they win both those, they'll be at 19 wins going into the Pac-12 tournament. Joe Lunardi, as of now, has UCLA among the last 4 in. So he's got 4 Pac-12 teams in. Stanford among the first 4 out. I still think when it's all said and done, the Cardinal get in. I do think Stanford's going to win enough games down the stretch.
They're not playing well at all.
I know, but it's...
But okay, so UCLA is going to get the 64th seed and have to play Kentucky in the first round. We've seen what happens there. We'll see what kind of progress the Bruins have made. You're old enough to remember the last time, right?
Got a foul call on Arizona. It's a 15 foul and a half on Arizona. It's on Ashley his 3rd. No team fouls yet on Colorado. And that may not be a good thing when you don't have a team foul 8 minutes into a half.
And you're down. And you're down 19.
Well, it shows that they haven't been aggressive, right? I mean, how many layups and dunks have you seen from Arizona?
Start a foul. Start a fight.
Well, let's not go there.
Let's get physical here. Come on, guard somebody. Show that this means something to you. Because if you don't care, why should we?
Thea Booker has taken 15 shots. The rest of the team has taken 21.
But see, they've forced Colorado to play one-on-one basketball, which is not the strength of their game.
Fletcher can't get the bounce.
Best rebound
to the rebound is Ashley.
Best rebound of the night. I love rebounding. Did you know that Kareem was the 3rd leading rebounder in the history of basketball?
How many rebounds a game did you average in college?
Not enough.
Well, I know you averaged 5 assists per game in college. I believe 15.6 was your rebound average, if I'm not mistaken.
I played to win. The stats meant nothing. Winning and losing. Bill Russell was my guy.
They also lost to UCLA on the road.
Wait a second. Quality wins. You're counting UCLA in there, please. I mean,
and the worst loss to Oregon. That's not a bad loss, really. Oregon's
playing great right now.
Yep.
Oregon is on fire. That win against Utah, the win against Cal, back-to-back. Now they go to Stanford, and with Stanford playing poorly, Oregon wins that game. They're just moving up like a comet.
Dana Altman has done a tremendous job again.
Well, one of the things about Dana's team is that no matter what happens over the course of the season, the injuries, changing personnel, whatever, there's a little bit of a press here trying to show some signs of life, but Dana's teams, they always get better as the season progresses. You know, it was Pat Kilkenny that hired Dana Altman to rebuild that program after Ernie Kent had run his course there.
Here's Tarczewski on the low block. 14 points for Zeus. He's 6 of 8 from the floor. He traveled that time, though.
So you know how with the Hall of Fame's coming up, last night we talked about Bo Ryan. Tonight we're east of the Continental Divide. You know what that is, right? Okay, anyway. JoJo White, because this conference that Colorado is in now is the Pac-12. They used to be in the Big 8, which is where JoJo White made his first impression. But a champion at the Olympic level, champion at the professional level, JoJo White, one of the top players in the history of basketball, up for the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure hoping that he's one of those 4 guys that I'm really pulling for. Spencer Haywood, we'll talk about him later. Kevin Johnson, Bo Ryan, we did him last night. JoJo White, please, please. Good Lord above, can't you hear me crying?
T.J. McConnell with the basket, good pass. Really great execution all night by Arizona. Who's not in the Hall of Fame right now that should be? Or any player that just sticks with you that says it's wrong, this guy should be in? Or do you think they've done a pretty good job as to the selection so far?
Let me think about that one.
All right, think about it. And if you can't remember, then we'll do it next week. We get 2 games next week, Wednesday, Thursday. You'll be there.
Well, a lot of my guys have got in of late.
Stanley Johnson,
Don Nelson, Dennis Johnson.
And a timeout by Colorado.
Another timeout. Where's that bingo card?
The Bill Walton bingo card? Oh, it's being played all across America, I guarantee it. TJ McConnell, Pac-12 Player of the Year candidate with a great find. Stanley Johnson converts.
2 games.
If TJ McConnell wins it, he'll join a very select group of Arizona point guards. Even though Nick Johnson really wasn't a point guard last year, he did play some point. Jason Terry, Mike Bibby, Damon Stoudemire shared the Pac-12 Player of the Year award in '95 with Ed O'Bannon.
You get into these faux classifications of point guard, shooting guard. He's a lead player, Nick Johnson, and that's what you're looking for. And it doesn't matter where on the court you play, as long as you're the guy who's dictating the tempo. And oh, that's an offensive foul there, please.
Randy McCall thought it was a flop, and then a foul called on Tarczewski.
Have you ever seen Hollis Jefferson flop? You have to know the personnel if you're going to be the referee. And one of the great things you mentioned about those players for Arizona.
Yeah.
How about the fact that the Pac-12, the Conference of Champions, no truck stop conference here, they have 4 players who are now coaching in the NBA. All of them great guards. Jason Kidd, Byron Scott, Lionel Hollins, and Steve Kerr. And I want to hear from these other conferences who keep talking about how great they are. Please, this is the Conference of Champions.
How about this? TJ McConnell, we were talking about him being a likely Pac-12 Player of the Year.
I like that you're going to likely.
He's from Pittsburgh.
Right.
Sean Miller's from Pittsburgh.
Right.
How about this? This is the 128th game that TJ McConnell's played in his career.
Right.
Sean Miller played 128 games.
Oh, this is really getting deep.
Sean Miller
now.
At 1,282 points in his career.
Yeah.
TJ McConnell right now, 1,286 points.
So they're like one and the same person. This is, okay, you have come to the bright side. Finally, you see the light. You've come to Boulder. And you're,
just for stats out.
This is the greatest moment of my life. You have finally realized that things are related. And we don't live in a vacuum. Because when you just identify these individual guys, then it minimizes and trivializes everything that goes on around you.
San Diego Gonzaga coming up next.
Oh, that'll be a game.
ESPN2.
That's at Gonzaga.
He only lost for the Zags against Arizona in Tucson.
A game they should have won.
Arizona.
Gonzaga has size. They have strength. They have power.
Have you done a game there? Have you been to the Kennel in Spokane?
The Kennel?
Yeah, that's what they used to call it in the new McCarthy Center, but it's still a great place. Great fans.
That's where
student section is one of the best in the country.
Good as Arizona?
I would say if it's right there, if not better than Arizona in terms of the student section.
I'm a Pac-12 guy. But I'm going to allow you to believe what you want.
I love the Zona Zoo, but if you did a game at Spokane, you would be impressed.
You can have your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Here's Hollis Jefferson. Try to throw it up there with the offhand. His right hand, he's fouled. They'll go to the line for 2.
And you know what's really cool about the Pac-12 Conference of Champions? Is that we have 6 schools. 6 schools out of the top 15 in terms of Peace Corps volunteers. Washington, who we had last night, Joel Lenardi took all our time, so we couldn't talk about that. But Colorado's in that top 15. Cal, Oregon, UCLA, and Arizona State with Michael Crow.
So you're saying it's the Conference of Champions?
That's right. Champions in the fight to make this world better.
We will be in Vegas.
You do love your country, right?
We'll be in Vegas in 2 weeks for the Pac-12 tournament. ESPN will carry the last quarterfinal 2 weeks from tonight, the last semifinal, late night on ESPN, and then the championship game. Saturday night, 11 Eastern on ESPN.
We are going to have so much fun. Plan your spring break around the Conference of Champions tournament at the MGM. I'm trying to negotiate with the MGM to bring Cortez. Beautiful play, Stanley Johnson. Throw one down, big man.
Johnson fouled. by Xavier Johnson. And Stanley will go to the line. So if the season ended today, which
it doesn't.
Yeah, I know you're going to say that.
Okay.
Arizona would be the 1 seed. And,
okay, so Cal's playing great. Although I thought Cal was going to beat Oregon last night. UCLA, they'll be able to take care of USC.
Arizona State, that team
playing
can be a sleeper. The Sun
Colorado's not playing well.
Arizona State beat Arizona, one of the 3 teams to knock off the Wildcats this year, along with Oregon State and UNLV.
Little Timmy, can you put that bracket back up there one more time so we can see that, please? The bottom of the bracket. We never got that far down.
Next dead ball, how's that? The producer says, don't tell me what to do, Bill. I'll do my job.
I asked him. I requested. This is like a big iPad right here, right? Where you just push the buttons and things happen. It's fantastic. You got the greatest jobs in the world, besides being a bike mechanic at University Bikes. What a museum.
Or a yogi instructor, which you said Derek Rose should become. And now they're talking that maybe Rose could be back at the end of the year. And here you're telling him to retire and go become a yogi.
I said yogi master.
A yogi master, excuse me. Basket by Xavier Tall.
That is the problem. You don't listen. You just have your mind made up.
21-point Arizona lead. 25-3, 13-2 in the conference.
These fans here, they want so bad for this program to be great. And Tad Boyle is doing everything he can. Rick George, the absolutely brilliant athletic director here. They need to learn, though, Colorado, how to play in the big games. And they don't do that. They don't have health. They don't have chemistry. It's just very, very tough. And now they're going to lose Askia Booker to graduation.
Meanwhile, Gabe York with 14 points. That's his 4th three. He's got 7 made threes in the last 2 games. And Arizona will be a game and a half up on Utah. The Utes play Arizona State tonight. And they have Arizona Saturday on ESPN. And then Arizona will have the Washington schools up next, as we got a 30-second timeout. You called for the bottom of the bracket.
This is an iPad here. How cool is that? Okay, Oregon State and Washington. Well, I guess we didn't need to go down that far in the bracket. But then, that California-Arizona game, we're going to have that late in the regular season, a week from tonight.
Actually, next Wednesday, a week from last night. Oh, no, it is a week from tonight. You're right. UCLA, USC will have a week.
You just don't believe anything I say. Put your shirt on, please. Show the colors. This is going to be so much fun. At Wolfgang's Pucks every night, closing it down. The cheerleaders, the bands in the lobby, the Golden Lion. What more could you ask for?
You just say
the Golden Lion right there in the lobby. And it's the pedestal that this Golden Lion stands on. The cheerleaders get up on this pedestal and they dance, and the bands come marching through on the way to the pool parties.
Lori Walton on line 1.
What are you talking about?
Cheerleaders twice. We get it, okay?
I went to college.
So if you're at MGM Grand Arena and you see Bill bowing down on one knee before the Golden Lion, you'll know he's getting ready for the game.
Pay homage. The Golden Lion. I've got my own Golden Lion I bring with me. He lives at home with us. Cortez. So sad. Dad, do you have to go again?
Back to the game, blocked by Wesley Gordon on Ashley. Colorado down 22, though. Buffaloes will fall to 5-10 on the year. This will be 6 losses in the last 7. A season that started with promise. A lot of these players have been part of 3 straight teams that have made it to the NCAA tournament. But look, the expectations have been raised here because of what Tad Boyle and the staff have done. But think about it. They had not been since they had the 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances, but prior to that, they had not been since 2003. They've only been to the tournament a handful of times in the history of Colorado basketball. Tad's done a great job, but it's been a rough year for the Buffaloes.
I love Tad Boyle. I love Colorado. I love Buffalo.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dish. Only the Hopper from Dish gives you the power to watch all your live and recorded TV anywhere. And Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Our player of the game tonight.
Missed only 2 shots, 6 of 8 from the floor, 3 rebounds for Caleb, turning 22 today. He's a junior out of Claremont, New Hampshire.
For his birthday present, his dad used to take him to Celtic games. Now, the Celtics weren't any good at the time, but he knew all about their tradition.
What did he know about the '86 team?
He knew that Larry Bird was on that team, and that's all you need to know. Granted, there was 3 other players in the top 50 all-time for the NBA, NBA's all-time squad, but when you have Larry Bird, everything is different.
Who was the unsung hero on that '86 team? A lot of big names on that team, as you said, a lot of Hall of Famers, including yourself.
Larry Bird was the best player I ever played with. Kevin McHale, the 2nd greatest low post player I ever played against. Robert Parrish, like riding behind a Brinks truck down a bumpy road where they forgot to close the back door. Dennis Johnson, who was the best guard in all of basketball until Magic came onto the scene. Danny Ainge, one of the most brilliant athletes and minds I've ever come across. Danny, I've known him since high school. Scotty Wedman, who starred here at the University of Colorado.
So who's the most unsung? You've given us the roster.
What do you mean by unsung?
Well, the guy that maybe didn't get the credit from a media standpoint, but you guys in the locker room knew was a huge factor on your team.
Nobody cared about who was getting credit. It was a team.
Jerry Seasting, maybe?
Jerry Seasting was awesome. Jerry Seasting went to the same high school that John Wooden went to.
Basket interference on Colorado.
Red Auerbach, Casey Jones, Jan Volt, Jeff Swiss,
our journey
Joe DiLorenzo
to the tourney game Saturday at 2 Eastern. It's Northern Iowa and Wichita State. Northern Iowa, first top 10 ranking in school history. They've lost only 2 games. Wichita State has lost only 3 times. And they've got the best record in the country the last 2 years. That will be a great game on a great day this Saturday, 2 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, Kansas, Texas, 7 o'clock, Cuse, Duke, 9 o'clock, we'll be in Salt Lake for Utah, Arizona, as Stanley Johnson makes the jumper.
You know what was great about that team? We won the game, and we had fun doing it.
Great pointer by Xavier Tolton.
And we were happy for other people's success. Because when you get into this whole thing about unsung and whose team it is, throw it down, big man, one time. Brandon Ashley, passion, exuberance, industriousness, enthusiasm.
By the way, you were talking about Larry Bird on Saturday. It's going to be one of the biggest games that the Huntsman Center has had. Maybe the biggest since 1979 Final Four, National Championship, Bird Magic.
That was a big game.
Brandon Ashley at the line.
But Dick Enberg, who called that game, you know who Dick Enberg is, correct?
Of course.
Okay. You know that Dick Enberg was the broadcaster at UCLA.
I did know that.
You know that Dick Enberg called the game in the Astrodome. Dick Enberg, who tonight is in Atlanta. His wife's sister is getting married down there. But Dick Enberg always says that the game in the Astrodome was the game that put college basketball on the map. The game in Salt Lake City, the most viewed game in the history of college basketball. But that game in the Astrodome, the first made-for-television basketball game, that was an event.
Xavier Johnson can't put it back, and here's Stanley Johnson. Arizona leading by 22 at the 4-minute mark. Stanley Johnson draws the foul and gets the basket.
But let's get back to that thing you talked about with that Celtic team and whose team it was and who was unsung and who got the credit and who didn't. When that stuff comes into play, you're basically insinuating that guys on the team are hoping that one of their teammates plays poorly so that they can be the star. And that's not the way teams work. You have to, it's not the way families work. One of the proudest things in my life as a dad of 4 young men. Our children, who have completely different lives from each other, they're happy for their siblings' successes. And that makes me happy and proud as a dad.
Well, Luke told me you always favored Chris. No response?
Yeah. I love Chris.
Luke's not listening. He's coaching right now.
Who are they playing tonight?
They're playing the Cavs. I think they won, actually.
They got a good team. They're fun. Now, that's a fun team. That's a great culture. And Josh Scott is over there riding his bike. Maybe I should go over there. I love my bike. Bing. How cool. Jake, who grew up here in Boulder, a native. That's his dad right behind him in the orange hat. Love the hair, guys. Yeah, you're a great dad. Now, Jake is a sophomore here at Boulder, and he came up with this Bill Walton bingo here. And oh, my God. I'm told that it's a spiritual game, that there's sacramental participation and everything when things go down, when it's going right. And he's getting close. A lot of the red squares have come in. Jake, you're awesome. And you're so lucky you got a fantastic dad.
Bill Walton bingo. When you win, you actually lose. Ashley gets the first free throw.
You have lost your mind. Please.
Brandon Ashley, a junior from San Francisco, 10.6 rebounds. And an up-and-down season, but
for who?
When he and Tarczewski at the top of their games, this is a tough team to beat. Will be a very difficult out in the postseason. Ashley's an NBA talent. Had the broken foot last year, missed the second half of the season, was playing great prior to that injury at Cal. They were #1 at the time.
Brandon Ashley has the most upside.
You think so?
From this chair right here.
Really, more so than Stanley Johnson and Hollis Jefferson.
Well, they're excellent. You know, that's one of the problems with this, you know, the ESPNification of the world, is that when you say the best, you think that everybody else is the worst. And how many children do you have? You have 3. You have Zeke, you have Zuzu, and you have Lexi. And you love them all, right? And I have 4, and I love them all. And so that problem when you talk about, oh, who's the best? Who's the most unsung? That's not the way life works.
It is Zuzu's birthday, by the way, today.
Oh, come on, you didn't tell us. That is.
Yeah, I can't.
Happy birthday, Zuzu. You are a true angel of mercy. Happy birthday. Shares it with Johnny Cash, Victor Hugo, Levi Strauss. I mean, come on.
Buffalo
this
Bill.
Is special. Oh, Buffalo Bill.
And Caleb Tarczewski.
Now, that's a lineup you can win with. I'm taking that team all the way to Chicago for the 4th of July celebration.
Zuzu will be nowhere near Chicago.
Well, she's only 14, so it won't be much longer before you have no say as to where she goes. What is the song? How does the song go? I'll figure it out.
Jacob Hazard is on the floor right now for Arizona as Matt Korchak tried to keep it alive.
Okay, here's how the song goes. The sheriff couldn't catch me, but his little girl sure wish she could.
Which song is this? I'm totally oblivious. And again, you've left me speechless.
I concur with that statement. Just repeat that one more time, please. Put that on Bill Walton bingo. I'm totally oblivious.
So Arizona will go to 25-3. It'll be their 5th straight win, 11 of the last 12.
Oh, my gosh, Matt Korchak, you're my guy.
And Miller with the jam on the other end. You know, in all seriousness, though, about Matt Korchak,
it's all serious.
He has been, in the time that Arizona has needed him, like the game at Stanford, he went in and played great minutes for them off the bench.
Matt Korchak is what a team is all about. And he can be on my team anytime he wants. Knock it down, Matt, yes. Sean Miller calls a timeout. But let's stay here and talk about Matt Korchak. Because we had this incredible scene before the game here tonight with the Hendricks national anthem and the video and the flag and shots of America and how great this is. In Arizona, every single game at the first timeout, another timeout, they bring out a military member of our country's armed forces. They bring him out to center court and they salute him. And now Matt, he comes from a military family. Had to move every 3 years of his life. His parents are now retired and out of the military. They're in the Tampa-St. Pete area down there and living the great life. And Matt is going to be coming to the end of his college career. He went to Tucson for high school. He was able to stay in one place long enough. And the sacrifices that the children of our military members make in their lives, just absolutely remarkable. And the fact that Matt Korchak is such a valuable contributing member, and that's why I have him on my fantasy team. He was my first pick.
Who are the other guys on your Pac-12 fantasy team?
Deuce.
Dusan Ristich.
Welsh.
Thomas Welsh.
Snoop Dogg.
Dwayne Benjamin.
And Julian Jacobs. Brandon Taylor. Elgin Cook. And Chris Reyes.
Sorry, Ted Boyle close to getting a technical here. He is out on the floor right now,
screaming. He's trying to get thrown out here. And the ref should just walk away and ignore him.
First it was DJ Nelson, then it was Keith Kimball that he was yelling at, and now he's back yelling at DJ Nelson again.
If you're the refs, you understand that Tad's just frustrated, disappointed, trying to get thrown out. Just walk away. Let him blow his steam off and get on with the game.
They did call it, so Pitts will shoot for Arizona.
So you talk about that Celtic team? We played a game in Phoenix one time, and we were just getting the short end of everything, right? So late in the game, they finally make a call, and Bird looks at the ref and says, oh, yeah, okay, so now you're going to make a call like that, right? And so the ref throws Larry out. And Casey said, well, if they're throwing Larry out, I'm going with him. And so Casey comes storming on the court, and he gets thrown out, too. And then the rest of us, we regroup, and we come back, oh, so ever close, but we couldn't close the deal at the very end.
Who coached the team when Casey Jones got kicked out?
We loved Casey Jones. We would do anything for that guy. Anything.
Do you remember who replaced him when he got kicked out?
Chris Rogers, Jimmy Ford. Who cares? Frickin' frack, burger and fries.
So you're saying they weren't important members of the coaching staff?
They were the refs in the games, and they cheated for Larry's team every single time. It was absolutely deplorable. It was a travesty.
Jackson Cartwright is fouled this Sunday on SportsCenter. For Texas hoop star Imani Stafford, escaping a troubled past was a tall task, but through the power of words and poetry, she was determined to overcome. SC Feature presents Her Voice all day Sunday on SportsCenter. Arizona leading Colorado 77-54. So SportsCenter will follow us here from Boulder.
SportsCenter? On ESPN? Really?
You've caught on not to ask if Keith Olbermann is on ESPN 2. Jackson Cartwright gets the free throw. SportsCenter up next year on ESPN.
Are you old enough to remember when SportsCenter was just on a couple times a day? I'm a first take guy.
Here's the dump down to Torrey Miller.
Now, that is not going to work. And that's what the UCLA-Arizona game devolved into. And that's what Kareem never did. You never try to just jump head-to-head with somebody, because then it just becomes luck and hope and a prayer. You've got to have substance. And one of the great things about the Pac-12 is that this conference represents substance. We've talked about the economic dominance. We've talked about the hyphenated players and all the guys who dominate the teams here. But the Pac-12 has the highest average number of players per school in the entire country, beating the ACC, which has 15 teams in their conference. I mean, how can you have a conference with 15 teams? How about just lopping off the bottom 5?
SportsCenter up next. Highlights from the Warriors Cavaliers. All the games in college basketball as we get a foul here on Ristich.
But the Pac-12 has 12 teams in their conference. Unlike the Big Ten, which has 14, or the Big 12, which has 10.
So what's wrong with the Super Conference?
It's a great conference. There's just too many teams.
Hasn't it been great, though, for college sports?
Yes, but how can you have such an unbalanced schedule?
Well, when you have that many teams, you're going to have an unbalanced schedule. That's how it is. Wouldn't you rather have that than have?
Just get rid of the teams at the bottom.
No,
have them go build their own conference, and when they get good, then they can compete against the big boys.
All right, so with Arizona winning 13-2.
You sure now? Don't go out on a limb here.
Utah and Arizona will meet Saturday night, 9 Eastern on ESPN from Salt Lake City. Oregon is 11-5. Stanford at 8-6.
Oregon's a comet right now, just streaking across the universe,
and
looking for that launching pad that Red Rocks is.
We have not really had a chance to watch Oregon State yet, other than on television.
Wait a second.
What a job that Wayne Tinkle has done in his first year there.
I did an Oregon State game. Where were you?
I think that was for our friends at the Pac-12 Network.
You're Dave, right?
That'll do it from Boulder. Arizona hammers Colorado 82-54. Caleb Tarczewski on his 22nd birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You too, Zuzu.
Tarczewski finished with 14 points as Arizona rolls to its 25th win of the season. For Bill Walton, I'm Dave Pasch. SportsCenter is now
Boulder at night. Let's go.